Welcome back, America. I'm Hugh Hewitt. You know, Mary Katherine Ham, I have a bone to pick with you. How are you?
Okay. I'm all right.
Yeah, I cannot get the fetching Mrs. Hewitt's attention when she's listening to Getting Hammered. She shushes me. Shush. And
Oh my
actually,
God.
there's nothing else out there that she will shush me over, but you and Vic Mattis, she shushes me over. So you and Vic Mattis are doing a heck of a job. How many times a week do you drop Getting Hammered?
It comes out 2 times a week, Wednesdays and Fridays.
Okay, I don't know when she listens to it. That's the annoying thing about podcast. Now, admittedly, I do that about my sports podcast, and I say
Right.
shh back at her, but nevertheless. So, Mary Catherine, did you watch any of the Judiciary Committee carnival yesterday?
Yes, I watched a bit of it, and I very much enjoyed Senator Kennedy's comment, which I'm sure you've played on the show, about how his liberal colleagues should fill out a disclosure of their hurt feelings form.
Yeah, I haven't played that yet. It was full of great things, but it was also full of great points. Ted Cruz, something I'll play on the Grand Old Pod today, did a series of pictures, blow-ups of magazine covers that are just starkly racist attacks on Clarence Thomas. What do you think is going on here with this latest round of attacks, even on the George Mason Scalia School of Law?
I mean, I think that the first Clarence Thomas story about Harlan Crow, that they got traction with that. I think the Brett Kavanaugh stuff, when he was confirmed, maybe convinced them they shouldn't go quite that far in trying to delegitimize the court, but that this stuff might have some sway. And so the thing is, it feels very much like mainstream media coverage of the Russiagate stuff, which is just like, let's just bring a bunch of language together that sounds vaguely icky with not a ton of proof that anything actually happened and just give everyone a bad feeling. Ta-da!
And pave the way for expanding the court. You know, That's what break the filibuster, expand the court. What I find so deeply dishonest, Mary Catherine, is the court put out a statement on ethics, principles, and practices, which I will read in full on the Grand Old Pod today. It is very dense reading. It is 2.5 pages long. It's signed by every justice, and it says, we adopted a code in 1991. Occasionally, we have to amend our forms, and no one can make us do anything. You can't, it's unconstitutional to actually legislate a code. Dick Durbin didn't even mention it. He didn't mention the statement. He didn't mention the 1991 Code of Ethics. It's just all a lie.
No, this is the thing. I enjoy that the justices have these moments where they're like, oh, yeah, we're all standing together, because they don't want them to stand together, right? They want to break up this institution, and breaking up the justices themselves is one of the ways to do it. I'm also glad that Chief Justice understands separation of powers and can teach it to Senator Durbin. I guess he hasn't learned the lesson yet, but...
Well, Mary Catherine, I'm a lot older than you. When I was at circuit court in 1983, it had it had Judge Bork, Judge Scalia, Judge Starr, Judge Ginsburg, all these liberals and conservatives, and they all like each other. They got along, and when Judge Rob, my judge, got sick, I worked for them all. It's just not the real world of the court. The court gets along. They do their best. They like each other. Why do the Democrats have to make us hate each other?
I think, that's part of the objective, right, is to divide these folks. They hate it when Sotomayor, for instance, mentions at a law school that, by the way, Clarence Thomas is a really, really good person who's incredibly kind to clerks and support staff and anyone who works inside the court. They hate that influences her view of Clarence Thomas, because their view is that anyone who believes what we believe is de facto bad and evil. Like, I mean, that's actually what they think. Far too many people think. And I think the strength of those relationships is part of the strength of the court as an institution. And since every other institution we have wants to burn itself to the ground, especially media, apparently, their credibility, it's nice to have one that isn't intent on doing that.
Well, I think media organizations have become this way. I think media organizations are at each other's throats, and they've driven out the conservatives. But it's not that way. I sit down occasionally next to Christopher Dodd at a luncheon that I am occasionally invited to. A group of guys get together, and I said, he's a wonderful guy. I enjoy chatting with him. Movie business. There isn't any of this in the water over the age of 30. But, boy, newsrooms are different. I think newsrooms are just full of left-wing radicals who will drive out people. And maybe that's too sweeping. Correct me if it's too sweeping.
Look, I try to be fair to the media. I'm a fourth-generation print journalist. Presumably there will not be a fifth because there won't be any print.
There won't be, no.
But I love the media, and because I think its purpose is very important, but my relationship with the media is sort of like, help me help you. Like, I'm one of these people that you want to drive out, and I would like to give you the reasons that maybe considering the viewpoints of half of the country would make you better at doing your job. There's did you see the AP poll that came out this week that found that 6 in 10 Americans think that the media drives polarization and just makes things up? I mean,
of course it does. Only 6 out of 10? Where are the other 4 out of 10? Yeah, maybe they're listening to Getting Hammered, like the Fetching Mrs. Hewitt. But boy, oh boy, you've complicated life for me twice a week. Getting Hammered available at iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you want a great podcast. Mary Katherine Ham, thank you. Don't go anywhere. Follow her on Twitter at MKHammer. Don't go anywhere, America. I'm coming back with Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn, who was there yesterday. We'll learn a little bit more. Stay tuned.